Hello everyone and welcome to this new lecture. In today's lecture, that what we are going to discuss, that is basically the first motto will be the oxidation and reduction reaction, and at the end of that we will try to understand the redox reaction. Later on we will also discuss the corrosion and rancidity. Okay, so before that, let's have the quick recap that what we have done till now. So we have in the last lecture that we have done, that was basically the displacement reaction, sorry, and that after double displacement reaction and precipitation reaction. So in displacement reaction and double displacement reaction, we have seen that the more reactive substance were displacing the less reactive substance. Okay, so if you want to look in the detail, please look at the previous video of this playlist. Okay, so now let's start the oxidation and reduction reaction. So before that, we have this activity, and what is in this activity that we have seen here, that they have asked to take a china dish and put a copper over it, okay, and start heating it. Okay, so if we have taken some china dish over here and we have put some copper, 1 gram of copper, and we are started heating it. Okay, let's start heating it. So what we observe, so we observe basically there is a black copper oxide formed. Okay, the black color of this copper become black. In the simple word, if you want to say that, you will see that the copper become black. And why this copper become black? Due to the formation of oxide in it. Okay, now so what has the reaction takes place over there? So and the copper react in the burns, or basically you consider it heated in the presence of oxygen. So there is a formation of copper oxide. Very simple reaction, if you have understood it. Okay, so basically here in this reaction, the copper has been oxidized. And why it is oxidized? Because it has gained some oxygen here. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. Basically we have to move some further. Okay, now when we have copper oxide now, and now when we heat the copper oxide in the presence of hydrogen, what we see that this copper oxide become copper again. That's the very important, that's what we can say, that is basically the reversible reaction. Here we saw a reversible reaction. So here the copper again reduced. Okay, as the copper has lost its oxygen, so this is called reduced reaction or reduction reaction. In the last reaction that we have seen that the copper has been oxidized, that was the oxidation reaction, and here this is will be the reduction reaction. Okay, so as the copper oxide is no more here, so you will get back the original copper over here. There will be no black coating in that copper, no more black coating. Okay, so now let's start defining the oxidation reaction. So if we want to define the oxidation reaction, what the basically oxidation reaction is, the gaining of oxygen or losing of hydrogen during reaction is called oxidation. Whether it's gaining oxygen, so in the last reaction that we have seen, the copper was heated in the presence of oxygen, it was gaining oxygen. Okay, it got copper oxide, CuO. Okay, so that was the basically oxidation reaction. Whether if here we can see that it has lost its oxygen. Okay, sorry, yeah, here we see that it has lost its oxygen. Okay, so basically it has been reduced, and this is basically a reduction reaction. Okay, so let's start defining the reduction reaction. So gaining of hydrogen or losing of oxygen, here it has lost its oxygen. Okay, so in both of the case, if it is gaining oxygen or if it is losing oxygen, if it is gaining hydrogen and if it is losing oxygen, in both of the case it is a reduction reaction. Okay, now see this reaction. you will find something new. Okay, so here magnesium is oxidized already and it has lost its oxygen, and this for magnesium it is reduction taking place. And now see here for chlorine. Okay, what happened with the chlorine? Chlorine has lost its hydrogen. Okay, lost its hydrogen. Okay, so here losing also. Okay, so losing hydrogen is called oxidation. It means that chlorine has been oxidized. That what we have defined over here. So, and what has been oxidized as well? This hydrogen and oxygen make H2O basically, and both of them are definitely oxidizing each other. Okay, so that's all for this. And now let's back to the another topic. And now we will discuss the redox reaction. Okay, so when the oxidation and reduction reaction takes place simultaneously, means both of the reaction are taking place together. Okay, so here we can see that one of the here. Okay, where it's going, man. Okay, sorry. So here you can see that in this reaction the copper, and in this reaction hydrogen. Okay, so when we heat, this is copper has been reduced very clearly, and we can see that hydrogen has been oxidized. So in this reaction oxidation and reduction is taking place simultaneously. So therefore we can say that this is a redox reaction. Okay, redox reaction. Okay, now we can have some another example as well. So let's have a quick look at this as well. So here we have the zinc, which having oxygen already, and it has been reduced. Okay, and carbon has been oxidized because there was no oxygen, it has been oxidized. So this is also a redox reaction. Okay, so hope you have understood this. Okay, so let's start with the another topic that we have, that is basically the corrosion. So you must have seen the corrosion around you. That's very common phenomenon that we see sometime in iron. Most familiarly we see corrosion, but because most of the time we are not familiar with those other types of corrosion. So in corrosion of iron we say it rusting. So when the corrosion start, you have seen the brown layer on the surface of irons. Okay, so that's basically the rust. We saw it, the rust powders and all. Okay, so when the metal attacks with a substance around, such as moistures, okay, acids, etc., it's set to corrode, and this process is called corrosion. Okay, so this is very you can say that very these kind of thing that we do not want these things to happen. Okay, these are basically related to losses. Our building structures are getting worsened due to this corrosion. So for preventing these corrosions, we do numerous things, okay, various things, so that we can prevent ourselves from the corrosion. So preventing by the corrosion, we use painting, greasing, oiling, electroplating, that we will do in the next or two chapters later. In metal and non-metal electroplating we will understand there. Okay, of zinc, and sometimes we use aluminium painting and zincs. Aluminium, you must be knowing that the aluminum oxide protects the metal from further surface eating. Okay, it's protected from, so that no further corrosion takes place in the aluminium, because aluminum oxide makes a protective layer on it. Okay, so we use aluminium and zinc metals and different other process for preventing from corrosion. Okay, so corrosion is a deterioration. So let's define the corrosion. So corrosion is a deterioration of metal as a result of the chemical reaction between it and the surrounding environment. Okay, so corrosion in iron is known as rusting, that we have seen. Okay, the black coating on silver, you can see that there is a black coating on silver. If silver start corroding, or you can say that it's rusting. But in case of iron only, we use the word rusting. Remember this word. Okay, on other case we have to use collagen only. We cannot say that silver is rusting. Okay, whereas the green color for the green color coating for the copper. So when the copper start corroding, there you can see the green color on it. Okay, so now we have another very important topic, that is basically the rancidity. So oxidation of oils and fats and food, they taste bad, and this spoiling of food is known as rancidity. So you must have come through this in various times, very frequently in the summer season. You have seen that the food gets spoiled and the foul smell coming out of it. Okay, so for preventing these kind of situation or rancidity, we can use the various methods. Okay, and we do not want our food materials to get spoiled or wasted. So for these we use the various prevention method. Okay, so the very common method that we use antioxidants in packed foods such as jams, and you have seen many medicines that has been kept for a long period of time. So there we use antioxidants, that is sodium benzoate very commonly. Okay, we use vinegars for some of the things that we must have went to the restaurants. There we see vinegar dipped onions. Okay, so we use these things, vinegars, as a what you can say that for we can improve its time. Okay, so that it won't be spoiled so early. Okay, so keep the food in airtight container, the very common thing that we do when we bring biscuits, chips, mixtures. So we keep them in an airtight container so that it won't be spoiled. Otherwise it won't be that much crispy, and we don't even like to eat those things if they are not crispy. Okay, adding sugar or salts. You must have seen that picklings, basically pickling is done by using salt. Okay, so what the happen when we put lots of salt or lots of sugar in it? So basically it dehydrates the substance in which we are putting sugar or salt. Or when there is no more water or moisture in it, it do not allow to rinse it very quickly. So you must have seen lots of pakwans at home or pickles at home that last for a long time. While drying and canning, so drying is also a very famous process that we do. You must have seen grains always dry up before storing. Okay, and canned foods also used to, so that no more air can get into it and no more oxidation takes place and food do not rinse it very quickly. Nitrogen flushed chips packet, for example. Okay, so you can think of a nitrogen flushed chips packet. That, for example, you can think of Lay's. Okay, you can think of Kurkure, whatever the favorite chips it's all depend on you. See, all of the chips packets are flushed with the nitrogen so that this crispness, that's very important for us. Okay, remain in proper way so that we can enjoy that taste. Okay, so basically we have end up this all section that we have, but now as I have promised in the last lecture that I'll give the reactivity series at the end of the chapter. So here I have given the reactivity series and the most reactive metal from the top to and the least reactive metal at the bottom. Okay, so you can think if the potassium, and here if we take zinc, so potassium will displace zinc. If there is zinc, so let's have some another example. If there is iron, okay, and if there the second component is sodium, so here sodium is more reactive, so iron cannot displace the sodium, whereas sodium can displace the iron. So you can think like this. Okay, the more reactive metal or more reactive element will displace the less reactive one, and less reactive cannot displace the more reactive. You can think in either ways. Okay, so that's all for this. Hope you are enjoying, and be safe, be happy. That's all. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you. And please do subscribe, like my channel, and please do comments. That's very important and valuable to me. That's all. Bye bye. Take care.